I'm back on my mat here. So I'd like everybody to get into a comfortable seated position. And once you're comfortable, elongate your spine, close your eyes, and find your breath. Take a nice deep inhale and let it go. One more time. Take a nice deep inhale and let it go. This is your time now. We're going to open our eyes. We're going to inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Put your hands together, bring them down in front of your heart, and then push your hands together in front of your heart. We're going to do that again. Deep inhale, swing those arms up towards the sky. Then put your hands together and bring them in front of your heart and push them together. Beautiful. One more time. Deep inhale, arms up towards the sky. Hands together, bring them in front of your heart. Push them together. Beautiful. Release. And now, with intention, I want you to push your hands away from you. And we're going to do a gentle twist to the right. Inhale back to center. And then we're going to do a gentle twist to the left. Back to center. And release your arms down. And now what we're going to do, we're going to take our right hand, put it on top of our head, pull our right ear towards our right shoulder. And gently release. And we're going to switch sides, left hand, left ear towards your left shoulder. And release. We're going to look down, stretch out the back of our neck, chin towards your chest. And then we're going to look up, open up your neck towards the ceiling. And gently back to center. And now I want you to raise your shoulders up towards your ears as high as you can. And roll them back. And then again, raise your shoulders towards your ears. Roll them back. One more time. Shoulders to the ears. And roll them back. Excellent. Now we're going to stretch our legs out in front of us into staff pose. So once your legs are straight out in front of you, we're going to just point and flex our feet. Point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. And then we're going to rotate our ankles. I'm going to move back a little so you guys can see me in the screen here. So we're just going to do circles with our feet one way and then the other way. Just loosening things up a little bit here. And then release. And then we're going to go ahead and bounce our legs up and down just to loosen things out in our legs. And now we are going to do the sort of boat rowing pose to create a little heat in our bodies. So we're going to inhale our arms up, hold your hands together like you're holding on to a paddle, come forward as far as it's comfortable, and deliberately pull your hands back, roll back, and then up again. Many of us have done this pose before. We're just rowing our stationary boats here in our bedrooms and our living rooms. Just create some heat. You can go as fast as you want. Just don't overextend. We're just warming up right now. Let's do this a few more times. And go ahead and release. Great job, everybody. Now I want you to take your feet and try to bring the soles of your feet together in front of you. And then hold on to your feet. We're going to elongate our spines. So this is called either butterfly pose or cobbler's pose. And we're going to be in this pose again later today in a reclined position. But right now, we're going to call it butterfly's pose. And I want you to move your knees up and down. You're going to flap your wings. Excellent. All right, we're going to release. And now we're going to come into child's pose. So we did this last week. So first, we're going to come into our tabletop position. Then we're going to extend our arms out in front of us and pull our bottom onto the backs of our calves. And just release forward. Bring your head towards the mat. And then we're going to roll up to table. So once we're in table again, make sure your shoulders are over your wrists. And we're going to do a few different things here in table today. First, I want you to take your right leg. You're going to plug your toes onto your mat with your right foot. And then we're just going to gently rock forward and back. You're stretching out your toes. Stretching out your foot, a little bit of the back of your calf there. And just rock so it feels good to you. And release. And what I want you to do now with your right leg, we're going to hover it over above the ground here, and then we're going to bring it up behind us. Think about just gently lifting your foot up towards the ceiling. Don't have to go very far. We're still warming up. And then we're going to curl it under. And then we're going to push it back up behind us. And with control, curl it under. Push it back up. And one more time, curl it under. And push it back up. And then we're going to bring it down. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do hip circles, still with our right leg. So you're just going to pretend you're drawing a circle with your right knee. You're just going to come out and around. Nice and slow, so it feels good. And then we're going to reverse direction. Again, slow, with control, and release. Excellent. So now we're going to do the other side. We're going to plug those left toes into the mat, extend that left leg, and like before, gently rock forward and back so it feels good to you. Excellent. We're going to release. We're going to bend that left knee again. And like we did before, we're going to raise it up behind us towards the ceiling. And then with control, we're going to curl it underneath and raise it back up. Curl it underneath, raise it back up, and curl it underneath, and raise it back up, and release. Great job. And then we're going to do hip circles with our left leg. So remember, you're drawing a circle with that left knee. Nice and slow. If you hear cracks and pops, that's totally okay. We're going to reverse direction. Excellent. Now go ahead and take a break. Push back into child's pose. Beautiful. Roll back up to table. And now we're going to move into our cat-cow series. So what we're going to do first, we're going to inhale. We're going to arc our back, open up our chest, tilt our head up towards the sky. And on our exhale, round that spine. Pull your navel towards your spine. Pretend you're a cat. And then inhale, head up. Exhale, round that back. Inhale, head up. Exhale, round that back. And then come back to neutral spine in table. So from here, we're going to do wag the dog. So what I want you to do is to imagine you're pulling your right shoulder towards your right hip. So you're going to look over your right shoulder and pull your right hip towards your right shoulder. Now we're going to come back to center, and we're going to do it on the left side. So look over your left shoulder, pull your left hip towards your left shoulder. And back to center. We're going to do it again. Right side. Center, left side. Center, one more time. Right side. Center, left side. And release. Awesome. All right. So now I want you to come into a seated position. Grab your pillow, grab your block. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to sit on our cushion. If you don't have a cushion, that's quite all right. We're going to spread our legs wide. And then with your block, notice your block has 3 different heights. It's got tall, medium, and a little bit shorter. I want you to put your block in front of you and decide what height you want to start at. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a wide-legged forward fold. And we're going to actually plant our elbows on our block, put our wrists together, open up our palms, rest our hand in our hands, our head in our hands, and rest on our block. Now, if this is too intense, raise up the level of your block so it's more comfortable. You also have the option, as you're holding the pose, it's going to become more intense as you're sort of starting to loosen up some of those deep tissue muscles. And so if it gets too intense, you can always start to just walk your legs in a little bit at a time. See what feels good for you. and focus on breathing. The poses we're doing today are all going to create a deep stretch in your body. And the important thing to remember is that you're safe and you're in control of your body. And all you need to do is breathe. Just breathe. Try to deliberately slow down the pace of your breath. Elongate your inhale and your exhale. If you want more of a stretch, make sure your feet are flexed. If you want less of a stretch, they don't need to be flexed. As you feel more tension in your legs and your muscles, imagine you're breathing air and relaxation into them. You're doing great. Keep breathing. We're almost there. Take a deep inhale and let it go. I want you to gently lift up your head, put your hands on your block, use that to push yourself up to a seated position. Move your block to the side, put your hands underneath your knees, and then pull your legs together with your hands underneath your knees. And go ahead and take a moment And we're gonna do that shake pose with our legs again. Extend your legs in front of you. Just shake them out. Loosen things up. That was an intense stretch. Excellent. All right. So before we get into our next pose, I want to show you bridge pose because we're going to be using this as a transition into some of the poses we do today. So what we do is we plant our feet on the mat, have our knees bent, put our back on the mat, have our arms resting to the sides, then walk your feet in a little closer to your bottom. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your hips up into the air, create space underneath your back. And this is bridge pose. Slowly come down. Imagine you're releasing one vertebrae at a time. That will be more important to keep in mind later. Okay, great. So, grab your pillow, put it right next to you, and we're going to come back down into bridge pose. And when we push up into bridge pose, we're going to put our pillow underneath our bottom. So just take a moment, come back into bridge, grab your pillow. You're going to push up, pull those hips up, create that space, and then move that pillow, oops, underneath your bottom. All right, so once we're here, I want you to cross your right leg over your left. So just crossing your legs. Okay, now we're gonna inhale, lift those legs up, pull them closer to our chest. So for some people, this might be enough and you might wanna stay here. But if this feels fine, go ahead, run your hands on your legs and have your hands on either shin. So the center of your shin with your right hand on your left shin, your left hand on your right shin, and you can pull those closer to you. You might want to stay here. If this feels okay, slide your hands down to your ankles. See how that feels. If you want to intensify the stretch, grab your feet. If this isn't quite enough of a stretch for you, you can flex your feet. But I would recommend, since we're going to be holding the pose for a while, it will probably be more comfortable to have your feet pointed. But do what feels good for you. And know that as we're holding the pose, you can change the position of your hands. So just do what feels good. And the most important thing is to breathe. Breathe and surrender into the pose. Feel that incredible stretch. Your right hamstring. Just surrender. And try to control your breathing. Slow down that inhale. Slow down that exhale. You are in control. You are creating calmness in your body. You're doing an amazing job. If thoughts come into your mind, let them pass by like clouds. You're doing great. We're almost there. Take a deep inhale and let it go. And let go of your hands. Uncross your legs and go ahead and pull those knees in and just give them a little squeeze. And feel free to rock side to side if that feels good. Just take a little rest. You just did some great work. And I promise this is the hardest pose we're doing today. We do have to do the left side, but everything else will be easier. All right, we're gonna release those legs, put those feet back down on the ground, and then prepare for the other side. So this time, take your left leg, cross it over your right. Inhale, pull those legs up closer to your chest. And just like before, you have the option, you could just stay right here and just leave your legs right where they are if that feels good to you. Or you can take your right hand on your left shin, left hand on your right shin, and hold them here. Or you can move your hands down to your ankles or to your feet. And yet again, you have the option of flexing your feet or having them pointed. Do whatever feels good for you. And as you're holding the stretch, you might find that you want to shift and modify, and that's completely okay. This is your journey. Do what feels good for you. Now we carry different amounts of tension in our legs, and you might find that your left leg is different than your right. And that's perfectly normal. I want you to remember to focus on your breathing. We breathe unintentionally most of our lives. For this short period of time together, we're going to focus on our breath. Take back control of our breath and deliberately breathe in slowly and exhale slowly. If you start to feel tense, you can shift your hands and also just remind yourself to relax. Surrender into the pose. You're in control. We're almost there. Keep breathing. Take a deep inhale and let it go. And release your hands, uncross your legs, and go ahead and give your legs a hug. Rock side to side if that feels good, and congratulate yourself on making it through cow face pose on both the right and left legs. Excellent. So we're going to put our feet back down onto the mat. Our next pose is actually going to be bridge pose with our blocks. And so what we're going to do, we're going to grab our blocks, we're going to push back up into bridge, move that pillow out, take that block, and we're going to put it lengthwise underneath the small of our back, and gently lower your body onto it. See how it feels. You might need to shift it up or down so that it feels good to you. See how it feels. Move the block as you need. We're going to keep our feet planted, and then once the block is where you want it, extend your arms out, palms up towards the sky, and relax and breathe. Remember to let your thoughts pass by like clouds. Focus on the sensation of your breath as it comes in and out of your nostrils. Focus on the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you're breathing. challenge yourself to see as you inhale, if you can make each inhale a little longer than the last one. We're almost there. Keep focusing on your breathing. Take a deep inhale and let it go. And I want you to flip your palms down so they're on the mat. We're going to push up into bridge and we're going to hold bridge for a moment. Pulling those hips towards the sky. Move that block out from under you. Now slowly, very slowly, I want you to release your spine, imagining you're releasing one vertebrae at a time as you lower your back slowly on to the mat. It should feel good. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to hug our knees again. Give them a squeeze and gently rock side to side, massaging that lumbar spine. Excellent. All right. So we're going to get into one of our most complicated poses for tonight. This is going to take your pillow, your block, and if you brought extra blankets with you, you're going to want to grab those as well. So I'm going to explain it first, and then you folks can take your time to get into it. So like we did before, you're going to have your feet in cobbler's pose. So have the soles of your feet together. Pull them in closer to your hips. And if you have those extra blankets or pillows, this is when you would put those underneath your knees. If you don't worry about it. It's still going to be a great pose. So from here, we're going to take our pillow and we're going to have our pillow behind our back and we're going to have our block on the lowest setting and we're going to be laying back. The pillow is going to be on our back. The block is going to be supporting the back of our head. If you lie down and find that the block is uncomfortable, feel free to just move it. It's just an additional prop to help you relax. And if it's not, no need to use it. Same thing with the pillow. If you decide you don't want the pillow, you don't have to use it. But this is what it's gonna look like. We're gonna lie back. My head's on my block. My palms are facing up towards the sky. The soles of my feet are together. My knees are open. We are in reclined goddess pose. Reclined or cobbler pose. Goddess pose sounds much better. And so you're just gonna breathe and relax and surrender into the pose. And if you don't have pillows and it starts to feel too much on your legs, just go ahead and pull your feet out farther away from your hips, creating more space. That is another option. Do what feels good for you. And breathe. And remember again, bring your attention back to your breath. I know I keep saying it, but it's so important, especially in these restorative poses, to get the full benefit. You want to be connected to your breath and connected to this moment. Remember to release any tension you're noticing in your body. Surrender into the pose. Surrender into the floor. And we're almost there. Keep breathing. Take a deep inhale and let it go. Now I want you to take your hands on either side of your legs and push your legs together. Go slow. Once your feet are planted on the mat, go ahead and put your elbows on the floor. Push on your elbows. Start to come up to a seated position. You can move your pillow, move your block. And then our last pose before Shavasana is going to be a modified version of Happy Baby. So we're actually going to come back down onto the mat like we're getting into bridge pose. Move my props here. And we're going to bend our knees. And then I want you to take your hands and you're going to put them on the backs of your thighs. And if you want, you can hold on to your hands or you can hold them just separately on your legs. So from here, release your calves onto your hands. And we're just going to hold this pose. And so what you're going to do is you're going to let the gravity and the weight of your arms slowly start to pull your legs apart. And eventually, your arms are going to be heading towards the floor. It's going to be a very slow, hip opening pose. Just breathe. Let gravity do the work. Let your feet be relaxed. Your legs be relaxed. And breathe. So with each breath, slowly by slowly, inch by inch, your legs are separating, your arms are pulling towards the floor, and you're feeling a nice hip opening stretch. Keep breathing. Elongate that breath. You're in control. We're almost there. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Go ahead and plant those feet back on the mat. And now we're going to come into our final resting pose, and it's up to you if you want to put your pillow underneath your knees as you extend your legs out. And you're going to extend your arms out, palms up towards the sky, relaxing in our corpse pose or Shavasana. If you prefer to not have your pillow underneath your legs, that's perfectly fine too. Do whatever feels good for you. And try to release all the tension from your body. Melt into your mat. All your work is done. Take a deep inhale and let it go. I want you to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, rock your head side to side, and then we're going to roll onto our right side into a fetal position. And then slowly we're going to push up into a seated position. And from here we're going to be moving into our breathing exercises. And it's up to you. You have your props. If you want to sit on a pillow, you're more than welcome to if that feels good to you. And if you don't want to sit on a pillow, that is also your prerogative. So do what feels good for you. Take a moment, get comfortable. And once you're comfortable, I want you to elongate your spine. Close your eyes. And find your breath. Wonderful. So our breathing exercise today, we're going to be doing the Ujjayi breath or the ocean breath. Some of you are already familiar with this, but just to get us in the mood, I want us to make the sound and the motion like we're going to fog our sunglasses. So we're going to clean them off. So you're going to so just practice doing that for a moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep that constriction in our throat as we're exhaling, but we're going to exhale through our nose, not our mouth. And now, using that motion, we're going to inhale softly. And we're going to exhale with that constriction in our throat through our nose, but we're going to do it slowly. Soft inhale. Exhale, controlled. Gentle inhale. Exhale with control. You're going to continue at your own pace. Make sure that you can hear the sound. And do it gently. You shouldn't feel any tension or pain in your throat. And gently release. Return to normal breathing. And now, friends, we're going to stay in our seated position with our elongated spine, sitting with dignity. We're going to stack our hands palm up, one on top of the other in our lap. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to move into our awareness practice. So for a moment, I want you to imagine a warm white light surrounding you. It's a healing light. And on your inhale, you breathe that light into your body. And on your exhale, you release all that no longer serves you. Inhale light, and you can imagine exhaling a dark color, a dark purple or a blue if that works for you, or nothing at all. But with each exhale, release everything you want to let go of. Inhale the healing light. Exhale everything else. Let that healing light spread to every vein, every cell. Take a deep inhale in and let it go. We're going to open our eyes. We're going to inhale, arms up towards the sky. Look up, Hands together, bring them down in front of your heart. Thank yourself for your practice today, for taking time to do something good for you. I really appreciate having this time with you. Sending you love and light. Namaste.